possibly Australia will be looking forward to actually finish up the game if this is a small target or whatever the permutations and combinations are, because New Zealand have started really well and given a refreshing approach to women's cricket, which was earlier perceived as a boring one. Possibly, if I look from an India's perspective, that whosoever wins tomorrow, must win all their remaining games.
It's prediction time now. Match number 10, Australia versus New Zealand women. We have at Sharjah evening game. Deepu, what is your percentage?
I'll go with 51-49 in favor of.
As we said before, Group A, every single match is a blockbuster. And here comes, after India versus Pakistan women, another cracking contest we have on the corners. Australia versus New Zealand. I have Deepu with me. Deepu, these two teams are the shortest format of the game, faced each other a couple of weeks ago before the T20 World Cup at Australia. Once again faced each other, more or less the same unit, same 11 for both the sides. How much are you looking forward? Because both the teams have got off to the mark with a comprehensive win against their opponents in the first game.
It's something which is very exciting, the Trans-Tasman rivalry, to be honest. And these two countries were the finalists in the 2021 edition at the very same venue as well. So makes it more exciting as to how this rivalry is going to pan out tomorrow.
Absolutely. Vast experience both the teams have. They've played each other a lot of times. And just like you mentioned, the repeat of the last time T20 World Cup Women's Final, we might just see that. We will see what happens out here. But when we talk about the head-to-head between these two teams, that's the reason why I said vast experience, Deepu. 47 matches have been played between these two. 26 times won by Australia, 21 times won by New Zealand. It's not much of a difference, I must tell you, between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting Australia to dominate, but New Zealand have done very well enough to actually keep it a tight one, a tight contest.
Absolutely.
In 47 T20. So yeah, I think it will be a great contest tomorrow, and yeah, something that will possibly shape up the group as well for the knockout stages. Given that it will be a high
Correct.
voltage game.
Absolutely. But do you think these two teams both have won their game, are sitting at the top of the points table? Will they reflect on what happened yesterday, where India defeated Pakistan? But though we expected it to be a big win for India because it was a very small total to chase, but India just tried to get over the line and get the 2 points. Will Australia or New Zealand be concerned about that, or just focus on this game and then see what happens going forward?
I think both teams will, focus on their business. Possibly Australia will be looking forward to, actually finish up the game if this is a small target or whatever the permutations and combinations are, because New Zealand are sitting atop with, a great net run rate. 58 run margin is a very big margin. So I think if someone is
Absolutely.
going to be doing the thinking, it will be Australia.
Absolutely, and that's where I want to talk about the little bit about the openers of both the sides. Here you have Susie Bates and Georgia Plimmer. How brilliant did they bat versus India? Similarly, the experience of Elisa Healy and Beth Mooney. The openers did not click the game against Sri Lanka, but we know how much they are capable of. Firstly, start how the way New Zealand openers batted versus India.
I think it was refreshing to watch, with women's cricket also, getting aggressive day by day. And possibly, Sophie Devine was the game changer between India and New Zealand in that innings. So, yeah, I think New Zealand have started really well, and given a refreshing approach to women's cricket, which was earlier perceived as a boring one.
Hmm?
But they have, actually tried to add some freshness into the batting. So, it will be very exciting to watch the Kiwi players tomorrow.
Absolutely, and we will see what New Zealand woman does. But on the other hand, cannot rule out the defending champions Australia. We know their capabilities. How deep do they bat as well? But moving into the fixtures, and this is where I was talking about, and this gets interesting. Starting with Australia, they defeated Sri Lanka comprehensively at Sharjah on the 5th. Now face the New Zealand tomorrow on the 8th at Sharjah. Then they move on to face Pakistan on the 11th at Dubai, who lost the second game versus India, and they eventually end the group stages versus Team India at Sharjah. So if we look into the next two fixtures for Australia, New Zealand and Pakistan, possibly if they get over the line of New Zealand, I think they will just try to get over the line versus Pakistan. And if 3 wins on the trot, that's more or less done and dusted towards the semi-finals, I must tell you.
Yeah, it will be done. It will be done and dusted. Given the way Australia started off with a win, and possibly, if I look from an India's perspective, that whosoever wins tomorrow, must win all their remaining games. Actually, if it can give us a shot as well to finish second in
Correct.
the points table. So,
Correct.
yeah, it's a very important. As an Indian fan, if I say it will be, it's a very important game for us tomorrow.
Absolutely, that you have mentioned a very important point, because if India right now, maximum they can do, until unless mm, special things happen in the points table, but expecting either of these two teams, Australia or New Zealand, to remain at the top of the points table and move to the semis. Well, what India can only do in the hands is win the remaining two games and then expect the net 100. And that's where somebody like, for example, Australia wins tomorrow. If they will not go on to win the remaining two games, while New Zealand crumble in one of the games, India might just sneak through. So anything is possible. That's the reason why we have said from the beginning of the show, this group is a group of death, I must tell you. Moving on to the opponents, I think similar things, similar situation for New Zealand as well. They comprehensively defeated India on the first game at Dubai. Now they face the mighty Aussies after a 3 day break at Sharjah tomorrow. Then they move on to face Sri Lanka at Sharjah on the 12th. Once again, a 3 day gap, and they end proceedings with facing Pakistan at Dubai. So they start with Dubai, end with Dubai, but the middle two games is versus Australia and Sri Lanka at Sharjah. Not easy conditions for somebody like New Zealand, who do not prefer spin.
Yeah, it will be tough, and Sharjah has been very difficult. I think in the day game as well. The Sri Lanka barely managed to score 90, I believe, in their loss. So it will be tough for New Zealand, and also the timings of the fixtures also matter a lot. Even though Sharjah isn't offering much in terms of run scoring, so yeah, it will be tough. And Australia, I guess, have already played at Sharjah, and they got similar
Yeah.
surfaces in Bangladesh too. So I think they are better accustomed. And anyway, whosoever wins tomorrow, it's important for them, and as well as for India as well, to actually keep on winning. Maybe New Zealand, if they keep on winning, it's a better shot for us as well. Uh, it gives us a chance to beat Australia too. So I think whosoever wins tomorrow, just put their right foot forward. Currently, heart says Australia, but I feel New Zealand have a chance.
Okay, both the teams have a chance. Nothing can be said. It's going to be dicey. We will come as the show progresses into the predictions time. But talking about a high voltage cast, these two teams, we all know their capabilities. I think this they deserved a better stadium rather than Sharjah. I think Dubai would have been the stadium that would have set fire, because we might expected a high scoring encounter. But focusing on the stadium that is hosting this one, Sharjah is the one that is hosting this fixture between New Zealand and Australia. Evening game, a little bit of dew might come into the picture. We have seen England women defending targets versus Bangladesh recently. So what are your thoughts? Because 30 matches have been played, 12 times the team batting first have been victorious, 18 times the team chasing. We have seen batting first has worked out at Sharjah. What's your thought? What should you do in an evening game at Sharjah?
I think I'll still bat first, to be honest, because the way Sharjah is playing it, despite the dew coming in, in bits and pieces, but the wicket doesn't change, and obviously that the pitch gets lower and lower, and the ball is coming at the ankle height. So I think it's better to bat first, post on 110 to 120, which is actually par, and just defend it down.
Okay. So do you think 120 for somebody like, for example, New Zealand bats first? Is it going to be enough for 120 versus Australia and vice versa?
I think it will be enough. Mostly these nations, generally don't play at these turning tracks, and Sharjah is very difficult to play, to be honest, for both New Zealand and Australia. But
Yeah.
Australia, obviously played in Bangladesh, and now their players are playing in WPL as well. At dusty surfaces of
Yeah.
Bengaluru, which is not the same anymore. Even Kotla in the
Correct.
later stages of the tournament, so I think they have got better experience. New Zealand players, they don't come much for the WPL, so I feel it will be tough for someone like a New Zealand to actually get accustomed to the conditions, despite being a 3 day break.
Okay, so you're saying that the stadium will not be easy for either of the sides to score at least 140 plus. So that's what the target was for Australia. Similar, New Zealand wanted 160 in their opening game, which they achieved versus India. So you're just saying it's going to be a low scoring just because Sharjah provides rank turners. Moving on to the players to watch out for, Australia versus New Zealand. Here are my six players I've chosen, Deepu. Ashley Gardner, Elise Perry, and your Megan Shoot are the three players rather for Australia. Similarly for New Zealand, I've gone with skipper Sophie Devine, Emilia Kerr, and Jess Kerr, the two Kerr sisters. These are the six players I've gone with for Australia and New Zealand. What are yours?
For New Zealand, I think I'll go with Divine. Definitely comes because she's an all-rounder and a
Hmm.
great captain. So she definitely is my first play for New Zealand. Second, I'll go with Maddie Green. Uh, I think
Okay.
she's an exciting prospect to watch. And third, I will go. I mean, I was going with Amelia only, but now you have taken it, so I'll go with Leah Tahu, another bloke
Okay.
who excites me a lot. While watching, even in the game against India, she was using her cutters really well on a slow deck.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so but these are my three players for New Zealand. For Australia, obviously Elisa Healy comes up first, the skipper. She's due a big one, so hopefully it comes tomorrow. So yeah, Elise Perry will be the second. Will take the second spot, and if Alana King plays tomorrow, if it's a rank turner, so yeah, definitely she comes in. Otherwise, I'll go with Annabelle Sutherland.
Annabelle Sutherland. Okay, I was surprised that Alana King was dropped in the first game. They went with Darcy Brown, so that's something we need to look into. But at Sharjah versus Sri Lanka, we do not see Alana King. I will be surprised if she has versus New Zealand. Fair enough. You have gone with your picks as well, a little bit different than mine, which I expect from you. This is we are done with the players to watch out for. Now focusing into the predicted playing 11, Deepu, starting with the defending champions Australia, more or less the same 11. As I said, Darcy Brown is there in the playing 11. No Alana King. I've gone with an unchanged 11. Why change something that has worked out well in the opening game at the same stadium at Sharjah? So I've gone with an unchanged 11 for Australia. What are yours?
Uh, I think it will be if there is a change, there will be a tactical change. The Aussies
Okay.
generally don't have those injury scares or injury blows before the game, so I feel
Mhm.
it can a tactical change can happen with Sharjah, getting slower day by day as the
Mhm.
games are coming up. I think Alana King can come in, so yeah, that will be my only change in place of Brown.
Okay, so only change Alana King for Darcy Brown. You're going with an extra spinner for Australia. Similarly for New Zealand, they were all guns blazing versus India. No chances for me to make any changes for this side because they posted 160, comprehensively defeated by a huge margin versus India. And I think that's it sums it up. Everything they all every 11 players in the side of New Zealand contributed, and that's the reason why they're sitting at the top of the table. Any changes for New Zealand for you?
For New Zealand, I don't think there will be any changes. They won their game comprehensively, and what Devine stated after that game that it was a strategical win for them. So hopefully they have made their strategies for Australia as well. So I think
Correct.
I don't see any room for changes unless and until there is a health issue or an injury issue in the team.
Okay. Okay, it's not in our hands. Anything can happen. But fair enough. Unchanged 11 for New Zealand. One change for Deepu versus Australia. We're done with the predicted playing 11. Huge, huge game, ladies and gentlemen. I must tell you. It's prediction time now. Match number 10. Australia versus New Zealand women. We have at Sharjah evening game. Deepu, what is your percentage?
For if asked for India, I'll go. I would want New Zealand to win because we are going to face Australia later. So that will be tough for us, but still, I'll go with 51-49 in favor of Australia.
51-49. That's so little margin just because both the teams have so much skills in their ranks. So 51-49 towards Australia just because of the Indian heart he has, to be honest. He's going supporting as an Indian, saying that Australia are heavyweights. If they win, they go on to win all the games in the group stage, and so that India has an outside chance to make it to the semis. Fair enough. Thank you so much, Deepu. Sit back and enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. Australia versus New Zealand tomorrow at Sharjah. Blockbuster clash, I must tell you. Just like we had yesterday, India versus Pakistan. Don't forget to subscribe to Fifth Umpire. Press the bell icon as well. Thank you so much, and bye bye.